Hey, yo, check this out. This your boy, the HAVOC, one half of the infamous Mobb Deep. You already know today's a good day. It's going down. The first episode, not even first episode, first show of the infamous hour on Shade 45. We about to really go crazy. This year is going down. The stars lined up. It's on and popping. You know what I'm saying? Listen, man. And we got a special guest today, you heard? So we're going to get into it. Keep it locked right here. Yeah, welcome back. You already know what it is. The infamous album on Shade 45. Right now, I want to talk about a song that's really, really special to me. That's off of the infamous album. You know what I'm saying? 30 years ago. It's the 30th anniversary. Anyway, Eye for an Eye. That was one of the songs off the infamous album that really, really holds weight to me. If somebody asks me, like, yo, what's your favorite song off the album? I'm like, the infamous. But I remember making that song, and we was in the studio. And I don't even do this no more. But back in them days, I used to make the track right in front of the artist. Like, you know what I'm saying? Right there on the spot. And we did have a couple of versions. I think me and Prodigy released a version of that back in 2014. Like, and, you know, one thing led to another. But we ended up with a special version with the feature was on there was Nas. And the other one is the guest that I'm about to introduce to you right now. Raekwon and Chef. Welcome, Raekwon and Chef, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go.
Woo, woo, woo. Boo, boo, boo.
Peace, Lord.
Peace, my
Lord.
brother. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. How you doing?
I'm great, man. Can't call it. We alive, man. We alive.
That's facts, man. And you know, earlier when you walked in, I wanted to thank you for coming on, being my first guest on the show.
Absolutely.
I really appreciate that. We support each other for the past 30 years.
And some. And still. And we still going to continue it. So
That's
it's
right.
all good.
That's right, man. Let me ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember recording Eye for an Eye?
Yep, I remember. And it's so crazy because we was in the bridge. You know, you had invited me out to the bridge, and it's like we was really just, you know, we was sizzling in the streets, of course. But you was like, yo, we got this project, yo, we working on, and we got this record, we want you on it. So I'm like, yo, what up? What we doing? You know what I mean? At that time, we was already cool. We was on the same label, and we had the streets on fire. But anyway, you said, yo, come to the bridge. So you might have did, like you said, you was doing stuff all over, but I remember being in the bridge, and it's even a picture out there right now. I think I had a yellow shirt on. Nas had a jumper on. I think he had a Carhartt jumper on the overall joint on.
That's Queens. That's Queens.
You know, the jumpers, you know, and we was up in the projects. Word.
Wow. I remember that too. And I remember one time you even having us out in Staten Island. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, for real. And I never been out to the island, and I was like, oh shit, it's real out here, son. And y'all niggas got me high than a motherfucker. I remember going back home. And they was like, yo, why you walking so slow, son?
Yeah.
I'm like this, yo.
Yo, you gotta remember, you know, we was trying to get our money up, so we was still where we were at, you know, and you know, like I said, I thought it was important for us to come and see each other's hood and just
for sure
be in each other's space on some real brother shit, and look, we still here. But when we made that and you played that track, it was like all of us was in the room, like all I seen was pen and pads and, you know, smoke, you know, Chiba smoke in the air. You know, I think brothers was probably still drinking 40s and all that too around that time, but we was getting it in, man, you know, and we was just following, me and Nas was just following what y'all did, you know.
And that's crazy. You saying y'all was following what we did, but we was really like following what y'all did. You know what I'm saying? And it blew my mind to even fathom that we was doing a song with Nas and Ray from the Wu-Tang Clan. Like, that shit fucked me up. You know what I mean?
I don't understand how though.
Nah, the shit, cause you know what I'm saying. Like, listen, you know, you gotta think. I'm a shorty, and I'm looking at you know what I'm saying, yeah, you know, protect your neck and, you know what I'm saying, and heaven and hell.
Remember, like, New York, you know, New York was on fire. Like, it was a shift going on at that time when we came. You know, 1993, you know, things was happening in New York City. You know, a lot of artists were really getting busy. I mean, you know, every borough. I mean, you know, you could talk about everywhere from Brooklyn to Harlem, Queens, Staten. It's like you had generals like putting their pen to work. And for us to be on a label together, I felt like we had a fucking monster squad over at Loud, you know what I mean? And Steve was so sharp at picking the right people because he had a family around him that was in the street. So, you know, when we was over there, it was like one big happy family, but we all was still working. We were all working, and it's like everybody was dropping flames. I'm talking about big records. I'm talking about, you know, we was competing in a great way, but it was love. You know, and that, I think, what made us even better because you knew if you was up in the building, you seen one of your greats walk by, it's like, yo, we run right in the back. Remember they had that little room in the back, all that. We was back there getting busy. Yo, they let us smoke in there. So it's like, word, we smoking up in the offices? Oh, we turned that shit into the fucking lobby of the fucking building right there.
Or and shout out to Steve Rifkin. He in the
No
building
doubt.
too. He right there.
Yeah,
He's supporting.
Steve running.
Yeah,
Word.
Steve in the building. Shout out Steve.
No question.
Man, ever since I known you, you always I looked at you like you like the fashion statement. You know what I'm saying? Like the whole Wu, but particularly you. You know what I'm saying? You always to me was on some fly shit. You know what I'm saying? And that kind of enhanced my style because I'm looking at you and I'm like, okay, you know what I'm saying? This how you get fly. So, you know, you got a new project out now, and it's called The Emperor's New Clothes.
Yep.
So, you know, the simple mind in me is saying like, Ray, he get fly. That's why he named it The Emperor's New Clothes. But we know it's something deeper to the title. And, you know, let the people know why you named it The Emperor's New
you're
Clothes.
right, and I'm glad you spoke on that because a lot of people might have thought that was the name. You know, I was just trying to say, yo, nigga got some new clothes, but nah, this is an old folktale that it's like an old poem, not even a poem, but a folktale. I don't know if it's Dutch or Danish. It's a Danish folktale about a king that basically he got hoodwinked by people that came and sold him a dream, you know. But when they came and sold him a dream, it's like his own people was selling him a dream with it because they didn't want to lose they credibility with him. So they felt like, yo, even if it ain't real, we gonna say it's real because at the end of the day, we gotta make him feel like he's still who he is. And you know, the vanity of things, when you a king, you easily can be an influence. You could easily be influenced by shit.
True.
You know, and make a long story short, they was trying to sell him some invisible clothes. I'm talking about nothing, no clothing, no piece of clothing. So
That's
how
some
do
funny
you
shit.
get talked into that? I don't know, but he got talked into it, and he went out and he had a parade. And a little kid exposed him and said, look, the king, he don't got no clothes on. So automatically it hit him and said, yo, I've been played like a sucker. And his people played him. So really, what the moral of everything is stop going for everything that everybody say is the truth. It's not. It's not. I don't care. Certain things that we know in our heart that's official and real and we could vouch for that. We can't allow somebody else to dictate something different if in our heart we know that ain't real. So that's why that title resonated for me making this album because I knew that, yo, if I try to do anything different, it's almost like, yo, I'm outside with no clothes on.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I got to keep it how I want to keep it, you know, according to what I know makes sense.
Right.
And, you know, I just like, yo, man, this album is going to be for the lovers of real hip hop that know me. You know what I mean? Because I think sometimes hip hop gets put in different positions and they pile all this shit up together when it really ain't hip hop to me.
Right.
It might have a piece of it, you know. It's like rock music, you know. You got contemporary rock, you got punk, you got this, you got that. Everything that we make ain't always hip hop. So, you know, that's why I felt like that title was so important because I wanted to, you know, show dudes how I know it for what I know hip hop to be.
True. Let me ask you this: do you think it's a balancing act? Like, given the era that we come from and where we at now, right? We seasoned vets. It's you think it's a balancing act, or it's just like, nah, fuck that. Just stay true to who you are. Just do what you do, and don't even worry about, what people saying. Like, yo, saying it sound like this or it don't sound like that.
I mean, I would say that at the end of the day, it's a different generation. They love hip hop for what they love it for. We love it for what we love it for. But it's got to be a balance to where what's what and what it really is. You know what I mean? A lot of times, we might try to emulate some shit. You know what I mean? I'm talking we as the people might try to emulate some shit that really they may look at it just for mainstream purposes or whatever. But hip hop, it was never really a mainstream thing. It was a culture, It was a culture that we had to protect, and we had to basically have skills involved. It was about, your look, your vision board. You couldn't be a biter. You couldn't be just doing certain things. So I think right now, to each his own. But I tell people all the time, it's like going to the movies, you know what I mean? Yo, you want to see a horror flick? Go see a horror flick. You want to go see that? Go see that. You have the opportunity to go see whatever you want to see. But in this case, I just feel like, hip hop is still beats and lyrics and passion and all that, man.
No doubt. Right now, I want to get into that record, a particular record off your album called Debra Night Wine, featuring Marsha Ambrosius. Tell me about how you came up with that title.
Debra Night Wine?
Yeah.
The beat, right? The beat was like, it was so ill, and it's like at the time, I wanted a female vocalist on it. So we sitting here and we thinking, who could we put on this beat? This is a beat that one of my mans from Atlanta made. His name is Blue Rocks. Shout out Blue Rocks. I was like, yo, we need a female vocalist. Because, now as I start getting closer to finishing up the project, I'm like, I got to have something for the females that get busy with us. They mess with us. So I said, yo, I got to get a vocalist. And I wound up picking Marsha Ambrosius. Her voice is beautiful. She's a very talented singer, writer, songwriter. I called her, yo, Marsh, yo, what up? She's like, yo, what up, chef? Yo, I need you. Boom, sent her the track. She loved it. And then she said, yo, let's meet up and do it. So she came in the studio and did it with us, and I was like hearing her voice, and she whipped it up real quick like a sandwich. Bah, bah, bong, bing, bong, sparks flying. Next thing you know, I'm like, yo, this is one. You know what I mean? I love that beat, and that's, to be honest with you, that's probably one of my top fives anyway on the album, just because that beat felt like being in a house party in the hood, like really rocking wintertime. I'm looking at sheepskins and all. I'm thinking that way with the beat, But I just felt like I had to tell a story about a relationship, with a female I might have met downtown at that time, and just taking it back to teenage love. Like, remember when Rick did Teenage Love? That's what my mindset was at, just telling a story, you know what I mean? And just took it where I took it, and, it came out the way it came out, No,
and that's definitely one of my favorite joints off the album, because it's like, when we go outside, whether it's a girlfriend, a wife, or whatever, or a family member, you know what I'm saying? They don't know if we're going to come back, you know what I mean, through that door, so they really worry about us. And, that song kind of, it speaks to that.
Yeah. When you think of songs like Rainy Days, I think those be like signature songs for us that we have to like incorporate the females, because the females, they love hip hop as well as we love it. I grew up on Salt and Pepper and Queen and MC Light, all of them. So they so much of a part of the culture that I feel like any album I make, we got to do something that make them, make the females be like, okay, you ain't forget us, okay. So that to me was an important thing to get done at that time.
Let me ask you this. When it came to Cuban Linx, what was the process, getting those particular beats from, like, RZA at that time? Like,
Riz was on fire back in the 90s, man. Like, I'm talking about to the point where he wasn't even outside. He was always in his basement. Then he had this small little crib and shit, you know what I mean? He had a crib that was like a studio crib, where it was just like a table in there to sit down and eat, and then you go in the room, and then he had his little setup. So Riz always been, a person that was always in the house making beats. So with the Clan, it's so different that it's almost like going to the supermarket and getting something before it's off the shelf. So while he was making stuff, he was making a lot of stuff on the spot, and then he had ideas tucked. So for me, I always had an opportunity to be around him and, pick certain things that I like, or he might come and say, yo, I made this one specifically for you. At that time, we all had to wait in line and get what we could get out of him. So it was all about who was around him at the right times, So for me, it was like I started picking what I felt was cinematic, because even just being a part of the Clan, they always told me like, yo, you the chef for the reason, for a reason, because they named me the chef.
Everything that you saying, like from artist to artist, I could tell that y'all was being real picky with the shit that y'all was doing back then, because it shows, and that's why everybody loves the shit, But damn, you know what I'm saying? Like what, like there's 9 members in the Wu. You and it felt like you and Ghost was like a group. You know what I'm saying? That's why me and P really could relate to y'all. You know what I'm saying? We just looking at y'all and like damn. And I remember our album came out, the infamous album came out, and then the Purple tape came out, and that shit made me want to get right back in the studio.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, yo, hold up. Like, this shit's not even fair. You know what I'm saying? So, shout out to the whole Loud Records staff, you know what I'm saying? Because, these days, like, it was a whole big group effort. Like, we do the songs, you know what I'm saying? And then we quarterback it off to the label, you know what I'm saying? And then they do their part.
Yeah.
But
it was like you said, like it was like a hip hop Motown crew up there,
Yeah.
And just like you said, the staff that was there, they were involved with us and really putting their ear on things. And even at some point, shout out my brother Scott Free too. I call him one of the hip hop ancestors. I gave him and Matty C that name around that time when they was there. Say, yo, y'all be, you know what I mean? And I didn't know they had so much involvement with a lot of records and a lot of albums. Y'all album, Biggie album. Things that I was finding out as we were working together at the time. But yeah, they were right there, man. They was giving their opinions, and they seen the growth and development in us, but they knew that they seen guys that really was passionate about hip hop, and we would go in the back and, yo, come hear this, man. Let me know what you think. Yo, how you like this beat? Or they might have bought a beat in the room, or, things like that. But yeah, man, we was a family, man. And to me, it was only one other record label that I felt that we were competing with, because they had hits over there as well. They had hit makers over there, and that was Def Jam. So I felt like Def Jam was Mercedes-Benz and we was BMW, and everybody was just going for it, but everybody loved to jump in those BMWs too.
You fucking right.
You know what I mean? Those ultimate driving machines.
That's
and
right.
Shit that you could run through water and rocks and
straight up.
We was that clique, and everybody was getting busy. I remember when Pun and them came over there, Joe. We had a serious thing going on in the 90s.
Nah, and it was family vibes over there. It didn't feel like your average label when we was over there.
Absolutely.
And look, it wouldn't be right if I didn't plug the tour that me and you about to go on. You feel me? I
they
gotta
don't even
plug
know
that.
what the fuck is about to happen.
Son.
They don't even know.
They really.
The world don't know yet.
Tell them what's about to happen.
Yo, listen, let me explain, man. I'm gonna say this one time, man. When I sit here and I think about hip hop and I think about pillars of rap music and artists that was doing anything in the early 90s, we were there. We were a part of that movement as well as we are today. But to reflect back then and all those hit records that we was making, underground records, radio records, it's like we mastered every chamber when it came to making a song. We knew how to make songs.
Right.
We knew how to do freestyles. We knew how to go hard if we had to go hard. We was doing everything to make a name for ourselves. So with this tour, it's so many records that we getting ready to fuck y'all up with, to take y'all back. You know, because I get tired of going to shows and seeing the same show every time. You know what I mean?
Right.
I really get upset about that. You know, so I think with this one, or I know with this one, is that people is gonna be blown away because you could be 70 years old, nigga. You come in here, you gonna feel like a kid again. You gonna feel like a teenager, you know? And like I said, just going through your catalog and, you know, of records and my catalog and playing the Infamous album and playing the Purple tape, it's gonna be a collage of music that's gonna be so remastered, refined inside that stadium that we gonna do. I'm calling it the stadium.
That's
You know
right.
what I mean? It's still what it is, but it's a stadium to me. And they gonna hear so many tracks that's gonna blow their heads off. People might start crying when they leave the way we got it set up right now. So I'm excited.
Trust me. Tears was almost coming out my eyes at the fucking rehearsals. You know what I'm saying? I was like, God
Shit like
damn,
that.
you was fucking me up. I was like, damn.
Nah, we both was going back and forth,
Yeah.
like, yo, remember this, remember this,
Yeah.
remember this. And it's like, damn, before you know it, we got about 60 records we
Word.
sitting here trying to, you know what I mean, sing.
Word.
And it's like, yo, that was just only what? That was only like for us, like what, 2 hours of work?
Yeah.
Of just vibing?
Yeah, yeah.
And it's still records
and just
that
me
we,
and you.
yeah, and we still like, yo, that's Formula One. You know what I mean? That we ain't even, cause that's how we looking at it, is to make it a masterpiece show that people could enjoy coming out and getting that feeling that they miss going to a live concert. So I definitely want to big up Live Nation. You know what I mean? Just, you know, seeing our vision board. Of course, Steve and RZA.
Yes.
You know, those brothers was really adamant about making it happen with us, and we here now. So, you know, it's gonna be an ill one, y'all. It's gonna be an ill one. Mark my words. It's gonna
Yes.
be an ill one.
Wu-Tang just had a successful tour, you know, all across the United States, and I was blessed to grace the stage with you for a song or two. What did that tour mean to you? How was it? How it go?
You know, that tour was called The Final Chamber, and it was like, we called it The Final Chamber because we felt like, you know, it's time to not really close the door, but take a break, where we know at the end of the day we all got other individual projects that we're working on. And yo, go out there and do your dance. You know what I mean? Like, we've been dancing for 30 years. So it just get to a point where we had it kind of marked off as one of the things that we would have to do is kind of chill. So everything was already premeditated, the conversation about this tour. It was like, yo, you know, we did the residency in Vegas and, you know, doing a couple of different things on that side. But we knew that this tour was going to be the Final Chamber tour where we could say, yo, you know, it's time to chill. Everybody don't got to feel bad if they got other shit to do or they got other priority projects that they're working on. Yo, now, go breathe. Go do your own thing. Go, you know, go live your life now. You know what I mean? We got seeds now. You know, brothers got kids. Brothers is in a different pocket. So, you know, at some time, you got to close the door. True. You know, so that tour was very important. But what I loved about it, it's like, it didn't feel like a closure. It felt more like a reunion. You know, and everybody was just getting busy and fresh, and the sound system was together, and we had that big ass 6,000 square feet screen. Word. You know, it felt like a real tour. It felt like that's how we should have been doing it for the longest.
Right.
You know, but we wanted to go and tap into records that we don't normally do, which I'm always a big advocate about. You know, I get it. I get you got to do the Michael Jackson joints and, you know, give everybody the ones that they want. But I was loving the fact of us testing our armor with other songs that we did. Like, you know, Ghost and them doing, you know, Impossible, and Jizza doing certain records that he don't normally do. I'm doing records. Ghost doing different. The whole clan, we just try to switch it up to give everybody a little taste of something different. And like I said, the fans, they loved it. You know, they was talking about it like, yo, they did this one, they did that one. You know, but what really fucked my head up is just knowing that the arenas that we was in, it was like 25,000 people in it. You know, and we didn't have no acts with us. You know, it was just us. You know, and that was amazing to me to go to every city that we went to, because we went to about 30, 35 cities. something like that. But it was packed every night, stadium style, like stadium pack. I'm like, oh shit, like, you know, it was almost like a reassurance why people fuck with us, and
Right.
we gave it up. We gave it up.
Stop me if this is a stupid question, but you when you get on that stage, you know that you part of the illest fucking group of all time, and that
That's a
whatever
fact.
will be.
That's a fact. Blown
that's
to the street.
and that's how you stepping on the stage. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Yeah, because I was telling my peoples, I said, man, I'm obsessed with Wu-Tang, man. Like I'm like seriously, you know, and it's no secret for me.
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? It's
Right,
like when I love watching watching Wu-Tang for me is like, you know what I'm saying, watching like something that I'm a life student of. I always want to study it. I always want to see it. The documentary would never get old to me. You know what I'm saying? Like I could watch that documentary how people read the Bible. You know what I'm saying? Like I fuck with it. You know what I mean?
That's deep.
And you know, I was watching the documentary a couple of weeks ago, and I was just thinking like how amazing that fucking journey must have been. You know what I'm saying? From then to now.
Right.
And you know what I'm saying? And everybody's still doing, you know what I'm saying, they thing. And then you know, y'all had this last tour, which I could tell from all accounts the shit was crazy. It was major. Madison Square Garden, the shit is sold out.
Yeah, that's where you ran on the stage and murdered it.
Yeah. But
Murdered them.
But I was looking at that Gucci apron, like where the fuck he get that from? Like, you know what I'm saying? That shit was looking crazy. The whole show was just amazing, and I
had to call up Gucci, baby.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And like
we need that fabric, man.
Like for real. And
need that fabric. That's what it was. And I had my man go to work on it.
No question. And
shout out.
In classic Raekwon the Chef style, always coming out looking fly.
Yeah.
And you know, talking about the kids, you got Dirty Son out there representing for him. He's like embodying everything about Dirty, and you know what I'm saying? And you know, when I see him out there, I think about myself when I'm out on stage, but I don't have P. You know, I have Noid to kind of like, you know, fill those shoes. But
every time I look at him, I just see his father, man. Like real spit image, you know, spit image of him. It's like looking at Tom and Jerry, and you know, you seeing Spike and Little Spike. It's like they look just like that. So you know, just having them there was beautiful, and you know, people would say, "Yo, man." That's why the Wu was so great, because I don't think nobody probably in the history of rap music did that. You know, took their man's son and put him involved with us and made him a part of the movement, because he earned it too. You know what I mean? It wasn't one of those situations where, yo, just because you look like him don't mean you can get busy like him. You know, but he went and did his studying, and, you know, because he was already trying to do his own dance anyway, but so it's kind of like we took him away from what he wanted to try to put him in our school and train him. And train him to be an assassin on the mic on behalf of his dad when it comes to singing those songs.
But he do spit himself, right? He's a rapper, right?
Yeah, yo, he could rhyme, man. Like, you know, but at that time, he was still young with it. And we, you know, he would come and play things, and we would be tough on him and be, gotta get better. You know what I mean? So don't rush that.
Right.
But right now, this is what we need to accomplish with you. And if you could fill this shoe, then you got a job. You know what I mean? You got a lifetime job. You know, and I think that to us was something that we owed our brother, because he not here with us no more, but he's still here with us. But to have his boy with us, that was us saying, yo, man, we miss you, man.
Right.
And we get a chance to see a piece of you every day.
Who's
while we on the road?
Whose idea was that?
That was a collective thing. That was, you know, that was all of us really just saying, yo, could he do it? Could he come and get busy? And now, you know, like you said, you know, on the run, on the road, he was tearing it up. You know, he was, you know, and the people was just loving it, because I guess they felt like they seen what we seen in him. But it took some time to mold him to be able to be a entertainer like his dad, or at least do it in the greatest way on behalf of his dad. So that was important to us. But yeah, that was a group effort, conversation, and a marching order from us.
Another favorite joint of mine is, you know what I'm saying, off your new album.
Get out of here.
Get out of here. You heard? Shit. How many records do you think you and Ghost got in the stash, just ready to go, just in the chamber, like that nobody never even heard? Do y'all got shit in the stash? Like,
Oh man, yo, it's like furniture, man. We got furniture all over the world and storages and all this shit. So many joints that we tap into, but we might do half of it and then just tuck it. But it's so many, man. It's so many. But I just think that we like to work at the moment, too. Seasons. I look at seasons as being a part of how we come up and make great music too. But a lot of things were out that I don't think the world is ever gonna hear. That we done. Ghost got hundreds of records. I got hundreds of records
Right.
and drives and things that we never even decided to touch no more because it was back too far.
I feel you.
But some things, if we felt like it was good, we would tuck it and just kind of predict that this could be possibly one for the next album.
True.
The next albums to come or whatever the case may be. But a lot of stuff is according to that year, whatever the time we had done it. And if it made the cut, it made the cut. If the other ones didn't, then it's like they just sitting somewhere, like just stuck in a box somewhere.
Well, I hope the family got access to those computers. Not to sound morbid or nothing, but I think we doing better than Elvis, right? You know what I'm saying? Because we ain't hear no new Elvis. And when we ain't here, you telling me you got 30 albums. You know what I'm saying? So that's official. That's fly.
Yeah, right.
We might think that, you know what I'm saying, the shit is dated or whatever it is. And I get it because, I'm an artist too, and I got shit in the computer that I'm like, I'll never let nobody hear that.
Yeah,
but, you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
But the new generations, when they come, the generations that's not even here, imagine they crack that vault and they hear some Ghostface and Raekwon shit that nobody never heard. That shit is worth 10 million, 100 million. Matter of fact, it's priceless.
It's priceless. Word. It really is.
You know what I'm saying?
It's so many records, man. Like I said, when we get in the zone, it's like when we finish an album, we had already probably laid out between 20 to 30 records. We only putting 13, 14 on there.
Right.
So the other ones they become, scraps in their own way, but good boy scraps, but just still scraps.
I get it.
Maybe one or two or three of them might get pulled because they was that special. They felt like what they needed to feel like today. Like on Emperor's New Clothes, I think I might have had maybe two or three that was vintage, vintage Levi's and shit.
Right,
You know what I mean? That we made that made the cut. But a lot of times, we want to blend with the new shit. It still has to feel new.
I feel you.
That's important. Got to make it still feel new and fresh.
True indeed. After the Cuban 2, everybody was like, where the Cuban 3 at? You know what I'm saying? Where the Cuban 3? Now, we know it's not a Cuban 3 because we got the Emperor's New Clothes. But what made you jump from no Cuban 3 to the Emperor's New Clothes?
The 3, I wasn't really making that a stress level thing yet because when we do 3, we gonna do 3. And we gonna do it right. And I gotta do it. I gotta do it to where I feel like all the elements is in that pot the way it's supposed to be. It's like making that perfect pepper steak. Eating pepper steak or something like that. It's the ingredients got to be there. So I never really wanted to rush it. And then, like I said, that's a serious piece of real estate of mine. That, wherever it go, it gotta make sense. It gotta be, because it's that important. It's like looking at The Godfather. When they made The Godfather and then did the next one, Godfather 2, it was like. They ain't play no games, you know what I mean?
Right.
All engines was ready and rolling, and wherever I would take it, it's like that's how I'm looking at it. It's like, you know how hard it was for me to do fucking 2, Cuban Linx 2, and it was stressed because it was like, I really, when I made the first one, it wasn't designed to make a second one. It wasn't. It was that. It was like you said, it was, we know we making classics when we making it.
Right.
We might feel like we making classics, but the people is going to tell you if it's a classic because it's one of those albums that you can't touch. You put it on and you leave it and it's official all the way through. So for me to go back and do 2, it took me like 6.5 years. To do an album. Like, how did it take you 6.5 years to really not try to outdo it, but try to get next to it?
Right.
Try to do it in a way where I feel like if this was an extended clip, this clip matched what the fuck you supposed to give us. So I was working real hard, and when I finally got the thumbs up from everybody and said you did it, it was a relief. It was that stress got off my back. But doing 3, I just wasn't ready to do that right now. And like I said, the politics wasn't making sense neither. Because if the politics was making sense too, then maybe that would have made me even get involved a little bit more. But you never know. I tell my fans all the time, like, you might get it. You know what I mean?
Right.
You might get it, you might get it, you might not get it. I don't know yet. But if we do it, we're gonna do it right. It's gonna be right, and it's gonna be what you expect it to be, because like I said, everybody, hip hop put that album in the Godfather chamber. So I gotta keep it, I gotta get on my Martin Scorsese shit to the fullest, and that takes time. No
doubt. All right, boom, check it. You already know we got this new Mobb Deep album coming out, titled Infinite, dropping October 10th. You know what I'm saying? And like you and Ray, we did a collaboration with Mass Appeal, and we
just took the words out of my mouth. Just thinking about Mass.
We fucking with them over there.
Yeah. Shout out Mass Appeal too, man.
And also shout out to R.I.P. to the late Sacha Jenkins,
Sacha,
who directed
yes.
the Mics and
Men documentary.
Mics and Men documentary.
Yes.
The shit almost won the
Emmys and all that. Emmys or something.
And all of those.
I think
crazy...
it did win. I think it did win some awards for sure.
I'm talking about the not the Grammy, because that's music. The other one that the Oscars. Yeah.
Right.
The shit. Damn, like how that feel to, like, you know what I'm saying, the documentary that of your life, part of your life, almost won an Oscar.
It's deep.
Did it affect you? Or?
Oh, absolutely. It definitely affected me. Like just them making it. And me knowing that they're about to make it. I had a long conversation with Sacha before he started to do it. And he looked up to me, you know what I mean? God bless our brother, He always looked up to me and said, yo, Chef, I know out of everybody in the clan, you probably the one that's the most critical when it comes to, designing certain things or wanting things to be how it should be. So he used me as a piece to help him, get it to where he felt it was official, because a lot of the brothers in the clan, they don't really talk too much. They not good with, kind of making people feel comfortable with what they may feel or see. But I was always his guy like that. And I just told him, yo, just do it for real, because it's a lot of corny ones out there that we really ain't had nothing to do with, or we didn't really get no major input in. This one right here, we with you. We believe in you. And I told him, I believe in you. I know you could pull it off. And when they finally finished everything and did what they did, I think I was the last one to see it. And I could look at the team that was doing it. They were scared of me. They was like, oh man, we gotta sit here, and this guy right here, he's the most critical. And then I looked at it, and then I just jumped up and I said, yo, let me tell y'all something, man. Y'all killed this shit. Thank you.
Right. That shit
y'all fucking bodied it.
That shit was
crazy. This is before the world seen it. Because I had to be so real with them and honest, because, like I said, they be wanting to talk to dudes, but dudes is like, yeah, yo, what up, yo, I gotta go. Yeah, what up, I gotta go. I'm like, yeah, what up, step into my office. I want to hear you, because I want to make sure y'all doing it the right way. And, they killed it. You know what I mean? Shout out Mass, man. Like, the whole Mass crew, y'all.
They did their thing.
They get busy over there.
They really did their thing.
Yeah.
And I want to thank you again for coming through, being my first guest.
Absolutely.
Infamous Hour, Shade 45 is going down.
Nigga, man. Come on, man.
It's going down. Before we get up out of here, It wouldn't be right. We got to plug the tour. The tour is going down.
Yeah.
You know, the 30th anniversary of the Cuban Linx.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? The infamous, you know what I mean? I just want you to leave them with this last little jewel. What goes into you making the set list? How we break it down, like when we in the
easiest
halls.
way I could break it down, the real rap nigga, is I look at it like how we dress. Like how we get busy, you know what I mean? We men's men. We men, you know what I mean? We alpha men. And we come up from getting fly and getting money and rocking the fly shit and just doing it in a way where it's like clothing to me. It's like, would I wear that? Would I rock those jeans with that? Would I slam those boots? Would I put this uniform like this? Nah, I wouldn't wear it like that. You know, so everything to me is like gear. It's like when I go get on my gear shit, and trust me, we gonna get on our gear shit. You know, shout out to my stylist, you know what I mean? Hassan, you know, we call him Dapper San. He like the twin to Dapper Dan, but his name is Torre. You know, when me and him get together, it's work of art being made. So that's how I look at what we getting ready to give the world. It's like clothes. It's like when we come out, you know this shit is gonna be amazingly ill. Amazingly.
You heard it.
I'm talking about to the point where it's like everything you wanted in a rap show is there for you. You know, no half-stepping.
No half-stepping.
You know what I mean? No half-stepping. Doing it like how Kane and Rick and all them niggas was doing it back in the 90s. You know what I mean? Back in the mid-80s. And Rakim and, you know, our heroes, KRS-One and Cube and, you know, how they all took time to formulate, you know, that look to make you feel like you was really at a rap show. So that's how we taking it. You know, it's, you know, we signed up and the shit is like the army right now, you know?
Let's give it up for Raekwon the Chef, man.
Bulletproof.
Give it up for Raekwon the Chef.
Bulletproof.
Infamous Hour, Shade 45, we bulletproof. We out of here.
Yeah.